Hello, friends. Welcome to this episode of Blossoms and Bourbon with a Twist. Interestingly, we are going to call now as we go forward the episodes where we have people doing on-hand, demo, live kind of things here. We're going to call those events with a twist. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being here. Without further ado, I want to introduce Henry Hill, an award-winning mixologist and bartender who works here at the hotel.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much.
A round of applause. Henry has crafted something special just for today. So tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if everybody wants to come over and gather. Please do come over to my domain here. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello. So I guess I'll say a little bit about who I am. My name is Henry Hill Jr. I am now the lead mixologist here at the Hotel Roanoke, but I have been doing this since 2000, which if you can count, that's been a little bit of time. So that's been since about 25 years now. The post before I had here was at the Greenery Resort as their lead mixologist and bartender. So I am a little bit familiar with crafting cocktails, just a little bit. The cocktail awards, right. Featured in Southern Living magazine. Bartender of the Year for the state of Virginia last year. Year before last year. There's a little spirits competition called the Virginia Cocktail Games where I also won for the state of Virginia. So my cocktail called No Place Like Home is actually state cocktail of the year for the state of Virginia. So, and it is up at the bar and available at the bar anytime you want to come back to the Hotel Roanoke and imbibe and check that out. So I know some people have checked it out already and it's wonderful. I'm not just saying that because it's me, but it is a wonderful cocktail. So please come back and check us out. But enough about all of that and other things that I've done, but more importantly, I'm here with you today and we are going to have a cocktail that is entitled What's the Tea? Can you all please do me a favor? This is interactive. Come up here and take a leaf of mint, please. One thing that is very interesting about mint is that it is a very delicate herb, okay? And so you are the gatekeeper of said mint for right now because you are going to put this in your cocktail, okay? So as we all get our leaf or sprig of mint, we are almost there. I love it. And it smells lovely, right? And we're going to do a little thing where we're going to put that mint in one of our hands right over here, right here, okay? And then I want you to take the other hand and don't smack too hard because we don't want to take yourself out too much, okay? But we're going to just give it a little smack like so. And I want you to smell your hands. That's how delicate it is. Just by a smack, you're actually releasing those oils that are in the mint itself. Now that we've gotten that over, you may come and take a cocktail and put your mint leaf on top of your What's the Tea, please. Now what we're doing is we're creating a sensory experience so that now that we've released that oil from the mint, we're putting that right on top of this tincture that we have. Now, of course, this is the Blossoms and Bourbon party, so guess what's in there? Bourbon. All right, we got that part out of the way. We know there's bourbon in here. Anybody know what tea is slang for? Tea is slang for gossip, okay? So when we're saying like, yo, give me the tea, that is like, hey, what's the new gossip, right? And so I named this What's the Tea because I want to transport you to your front porches and we're bringing in summertime now. So we want to go ahead and get to that front porch in our rocking chairs and kind of gossip with our neighbors to figure out what is the tea. Let's catch up on the tea. Let's talk about what's in here. So if I say it's What's the Tea, guess what's in it? Tea. Guess what you just smacked in your hand? Mint. So it's mint tea that I'm using in this cocktail in order to bring everything together. And in order to get that southern vibe and really rock on those rocking chairs, we got some peach syrup that is fresh made here. We also have bourbon. The bourbon I'm using today is going to be Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark is a wheated bourbon, and that grain helps me to attach more flavor profiles on it a little bit easier. Anybody not whiskey drinkers? So this is for you. And the reason why is because I like to make cocktails that are accessible for the things that we don't like. So sometimes, especially if you just have whiskey by itself, even though it's a corn base, it's kind of hard to kind of get into that whiskey because it's just a little bit too rough on the palate and the soul or whatever it is. We want to get past all of that and really enjoy the whiskey for what it is. So this cocktail has Maker's Mark, peach puree, mint tea, and there's also a little bit of fresh lemon with your smacked mint on top of there for you to imbibe. Now, you're going to notice there's a little collar on top of there that looks like egg white, right? Guess what? It's not. Anybody allergic to egg? It doesn't matter because you're not, it's going to be okay. What I decided to do in order to make those cocktails more accessible to everyone is to use an ingredient called aquafaba. Aquafaba is a vegan substitute for egg white, and it's actually chickpea liquid. So for anybody who is loving chickpeas and throws them on their salad or likes to, whatever you do with them, air fry, snack, whatever it is, don't throw away the juice. Save that juice and purpose it in a cocktail because it helps to give a nice silky texture to your cocktail. So that's another tidbit in case you want to put that into your cocktails. But enough of me talking. How about y'all take a sip? It is time to have a sip of your What's the Tea. Please enjoy.
Right. So what we're going to do today is, I hesitate to use the word standard, but it's like just a mixed spring arrangement. The thing that I want to show you today that I think will be something hopefully that you'll take away and be able to use a lot is the mechanic. You know, you've seen the clear tape that goes across the top of the vase where you create a grid. That's a great mechanic that we use at the store a lot. It's very secure, so for delivery purposes, it works wonderfully. When it's time to refresh the water in the vase, it doesn't work so great because you can't get the flowers out and switch it. You just have to dump it and then put it under the tap and refill it. This mechanic that I'm going to show you today is one that you can literally pull the arrangement out of the vase because it's not attached to the vase, but it works incredibly well. So it's just a bundle of greenery, and we're going to work with an overall rule, and you know, rules are made to be broken. So overall height for this arrangement should be 1.5 times the height of the vase. Okay? So 1 time, about that overall. We're going to completely ignore that. So we don't want crazy tall greenery because this is going to kind of be the foundation. So that's why I'm kind of pulling some of these pieces off the bottom so that once I trim this to the size it's going to go in the vase, you'll have about this height-ish, okay? And basically what you're going to do is just create a little round bundle. It usually takes like 8, 9 pieces of this to make one that's pretty. And see how that's just kind of creating a little swirl in there? This is a great mechanic if you're doing, you know, a shower or a birthday party or something and it's a week away. You can make these, put them in vases, put them in your fridge or in your garage if it's cool, and especially depending on the type of greenery you're using, they'll last a week. So you can prep for, and we do this at the shop a lot, if we're using this mechanic for event work or something, we'll prep these on Monday and then do flowers on Thursday and Friday. All right, so see that, just that little swirl? It's kind of just a little rounded grouping, and you should have a little piece of bind wire at your workstation, and you're gonna just tie this. You do wanna tie this pretty tight. If it's a little more loose, then what will happen is as we're inserting the stems of the flowers in here, they'll try to go down in the center of this and you'll just hit that block and it won't work. So tie it kind of tight so that we'll keep that from happening. It will not hurt the bind wire to be underwater. All right, so we're just gonna do a little quick measurement here. You want this to kind of sit on the top rim of the vase. Remember, you can always trim, but once you trim, you can't put them back, right? So that's like, what is it, measure twice, cut once or something? So just trim another smidge off that. There we go. Okay, so that's gonna work. It already looks like it's a decent start to an arrangement, but that's gonna work as the mechanic. Now, once you've got that in place, I like to start with line flowers. We'll just do a real quick conversation about that. Line flowers are flowers that are elongated and create line, right? Things like bells of Ireland, snapdragons, stock, liatris, all of those kind of things are line flowers. And the first 2 or 3 insertions for your arrangement should establish the overall height. So we're gonna go back to that 1.5 times thing. And I'm not going down in the very center because that's where it's tied. So I'm going just a little bit back of center and you just kind of wiggle it a little bit, and that thing slips right down in there, and it just stays in a nice little place. So it's a really sweet little mechanic that I hope you'll be able to use a lot. The other element about design always is all the leaves and greenery that are below water level have to come off. I'm using a knife so I can kind of trim it a little bit. In this case, you'll probably just have to use your hand. Those snippers you have are not going to be the best for that. This one I'm going to go just a little more forward and do it there. So I like to start with line flowers first. That kind of establishes the height. Now we're going to work on establishing the width. And I think I'm going to do some Alstroemeria for that. Another tip about cutting. If you want to look at it and decide like, okay, this is kind of where I want my flower to end up in terms of width, then over here is the side wall of the vase. So I'm going to cut about right there because it's probably not going to go all the way down in the vase. Okay? So that one actually did. It felt like it went all the way down. So, and that's fine because it'll stay nice and hydrated that way. We will kind of fudge a little bit with the dimensions, and I'll show you that too. All right, let's do a little carnation. Are you on the love-hate spectrum of carnations? Where are you? Hate them? Hate, it's all right, raise your hand, hate. Okay, all right. Out, all of you, no. No. I, since owning a flower shop, have come to love them because they come in such beautiful colors. They are sort of the workhorse of the shop because they last forever. They're so sturdy. And so, yeah. So kind of still working on the width. I'm now going to add one back here just because I want that carnation up there. And I've got one more that I'll probably do over here. This is so funny because this is not how I'd planned for this to look, but you know, that's all right. Okay, so you kind of see that form, how you have some height. We've already kind of got the basic shape defined with just those basic carnations. And so now it's going to be kind of like fill in the numbers. You know, we're going to take some other flowers and add to it so that it'll fill in. Do you see how well that mechanic's working? I mean, those flowers really aren't moving much. So about 8 to 10 stems of this Baker fern is really all it takes to have a nice kind of secure environment for those. Be sure when you're cutting your flowers to cut them at an angle. Do you know why you should do that? You cut the stem at an angle because you want to give more surface area for the absorption of water. So if you cut a straight cut across, smaller area, slanted cut, bigger surface area. So that's just an important part of that. One thing that you can kind of do, depending on how you're going to use the arrangement, is if it is going to be in a place where it's viewed all around, like the center of your table, then you keep that in mind as you're working, so that you don't develop a flat side, that you have a roundish, pretty side all the way around. If you do have a front, and you have premium flowers, like roses in this case, for example, you want to highlight those, put those in the front. Oh, the iris. I picked this one to show you the iris trick. Do you know how to get the iris to open when you're ready to do something with them and they're like this? So you just kind of wiggle those little green protective kind of leaf things off the side, and then you just thump it. Can you see how it's pulling out of the leaves? And then this one's a little too young to do that, but eventually, if you were doing that, the petals would just open up. They need to be a little bit more mature than this one is. You can sort of hand manipulate these and get them to open a bit. You just have to be super careful because they're so fragile. But you can get a little more color. This just means they'll last longer when you get them home. All right, so I kind of like that hanging out like that. Then we're going to do just a little bit of filler. This is called Monte Cassino. And this is where you can actually play with the dimension a little bit. You can get that a little more open, a little bigger if you want it. This Solidago is great for that. Do that on the other side. Okay, do you see what I'm doing with this salal? How that just suddenly made this more interesting foliage thing. So I've got some salal over there for you. This is called Florida ruscus. And then this is a form of eucalyptus called parvifolia. But I love this around the edge of the container just because you get that nice little, yeah. Dangle's a good word. Yes, that's right. Okay, I kind of think that's finished. Oh, thanks. So now the ultimate thing about flowers that you should always remember is that it should be fun and that you should have a good time. So don't fret about doing something that looks like mine or doing something that pleases someone else. Do what pleases you. So the flowers are over there. There are line flowers, there are form flowers, there are filler flowers. So I would invite you to stroll, pick some flowers, and create something lovely to take home.